Okay, good job. Big difference.
Hello and welcome to My Man the Maker's Automotive channel. Today is an exciting day because today we're going to bring the Outlander back online in terms of its lighting systems with an upgrade. So what we noticed a little while ago is that one of our daytime running lights had burned out or stopped working. We weren't quite sure. So what I ended up doing was pulling the bulb and determining that the bulb was no good. Now these bulbs are halogen bulbs, which means that they're use like a filament that heats up and turns really bright when power is passed through it. And these particular lights are called W5W, which means that they're 5-watt bulbs. Well, I decided maybe I wanted to go with something a little more modern. This is a 2006 Mitsubishi Outlander, and it's 13 years down the line, 14 years down the line now. So we figured maybe we'd go for LED lighting. And this is pretty interesting. The lights were so inexpensive I ended up buying 10. And that's because there's, I think, 5 or 6 of these W5Ws in the car. And why not just replace them all? Particularly when you appreciate the fact that the bulbs are individually quite inexpensive. So this is a 10-piece pack from China, which means they probably circled the planet to get to me. Wonderful. And they are theoretically compatible with the W5W form factor. So we're going to find that out. Now the other thing I noticed when I took this bulb out was the fitting was quite difficult to manipulate. And I think that's just a function of it being a little bit dirty, a little bit old, hadn't been moved for a really long time. So we're going to have a chance to try out our silicone grease for the first time. So I'm looking forward to also giving that a spin. So the next thing we're going to do, once we've assembled all of our necessary parts, we have the lights, the old light, the grease, some cleanup materials, a couple of Q-tips, is I'm going to go out to the car and show you what the car looks like when one of the daytime running lights is not working. And then we're going to install the LED version of the light and see about the difference between the existing halogen daytime running light and the replacement LED. Then I'm going to replace the halogen running light with an LED, and I'll show you what it looks like with full LED illumination in the daytime running light situation. So that's where we are, and that's what we're going to do right now. Well, here's what the daytime running lights look like. From this distance, I'm not even sure you can see whether or not they're on. So we're going to walk in and take a closer look at the daytime running light. This is a halogen version, and as you can see is maybe not as bright as it could be. So what we're going to do is we're going to be changing out that bulb. On the other side of the car, as you can probably notice, the fitting is not even inserted. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to insert the fitting with a new bulb into this part of the car, and then we're going to have a look at the difference in illumination. So here's the fitting, and here's the bulb. The bulb should just push in, and what I'd like to do before I push that bulb in, while I still have access to the circumference of that fitting, is I'm going to put a little tiny bit of silicone grease on the circumference of that with a Q-tip. So I just put a little bit of silicone on the Q-tip, I mean a very little bit. Scrape off all the excess. Close your silicone grease, put it away, and then all we're going to do is try to get in there. Put a little tiny bit of residual silicone on this collar. Don't want too much, otherwise if you put it on the outside you won't be able to grip it and get it in. There we go. So that should do her. And now we put the bulb in. Wow, okay, maybe one-handed. should just push in. And it did. So the bulb is now in. So give it a little push on the top to make sure it's fully inserted. Alright, and then the next challenge is to thread that thing back into where it's supposed to go. There we go. Okay, a little tricky to do. I think I got it. So you have to get it in and then turn it, clockwise. Not so easy. Once you get the LED mounted in the fixture, you have to push it through the hole and then line up. There's a three-pronged fitting, and you have to get it in there and then turn it. So let me show that to you once more. You get it in, and then you have to turn it until it's fully engaged. Well, it's not quite right. So it goes in, and then it turns. Yeah, and that feels pretty good. There we go. Okay, well, the LED light is now installed on the other side. This is the halogen light, and as you can see, it gives out a nice warm yellow glow, but yellow is maybe not the right color for driving. Maybe you want to have something a little clear, more clear white, and that's what's coming out of this side. So I'll just back up a little bit so you can see the difference between the two sides. And I think that's a pretty obvious difference. On the left side you have the halogen, on the right side you have the LED. So that's looking pretty good, and the next thing I need to do is change out the left side, which is a bit complicated because the fitting is blocked by this guy, which means I have to undo that to move it out of the way to be able to get my hands in there. So that's the next challenge to overcome. Moving the filler neck is pretty straightforward. This is a 10mm bolt here. You just unscrew it with the socket set, and then there's a little index. You just lift it up and push it out of the way, and then you might be able to get your hand in there. So there's a little nub underneath here that fits into this hole. So then with this out of the way, you might be able to have enough room to get your hand in there to get at the fitting, which is down there somewhere, to change out the second bulb. So that's what we're going to go after now, is that second bulb fitting, which I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little brown and blue or black and blue wire there. That's the fitting we're going after. Not so easy, but we'll give it a try. And there we are. Here's the old halogen bulb removed from the Outlander. It was much easier to change the right side if you face the front of the vehicle. The right side, because the access is unobstructed. On the left side, not the same story. You have to remove this filler neck and then fit your hand into a very, very tight enclosed space, which for those of us with larger hands is not so easy. The use of silicone grease did help in terms of spinning those connectors into the headlight fittings. Otherwise, I'm not sure I would have been able to get them in. And the other thing I did was I put a little bit of silicone on the threads of this guy, which made it a little easier to screw in with my 10mm socket. So here's the running lights now, nice and bright. That's the right side, that's the left side. I'm delighted. The bulbs worked out just fine, and I think this project can be successfully declared concluded. So there we go. Running lights now working, and very happy. So take care and keep making. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please consider subscribing, giving me a like, and leaving me a comment. I really enjoy making these videos, and I want to know from you how I can make them better. The whole point of these videos is to demonstrate that if I can do something, you can do it too. Well, that's it for now. So long, and remember, keep making.